Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So this is a short video on the emails that were received regarding the talk on magic on the 27th of February 2010. And so we have here an old machine, an old Windows machine, and this was running the old obsolete version of Outlook Express. And what we are going to do here is search for messages between the year 2000 and 2010. So these messages, email messages, we're going to put here Mithaq. If we just expand that up slightly here, Mithaq, and we'll select this option here to specify the received before date. So this is going to be December 2010. We put that to the 31st of December 2010, and received after is going to be the 1st of January 2000. Right, so this is 2000, we'll put that to 2000, 1st January 2000. So emails received from an address which has Mithaq in the email address between these two dates, 2000, 2010. We'll click on Find Now, just to move that up slightly. So we'll click on, if we just zoom out in fact first, let's zoom out, and we'll click on Find Now. And so here we have around 10 or 12 emails. You can see that they start around 2009, and the last email here is 25th of August 2010. Al-Mithaq itself was set up in 2008. This can be cross-referenced by going to salafitalk.net, and you can see the account on that discussion forum. And they organized numerous lessons through 2008, 2009. And in 2010, you can see here that there are a number of emails, Leeds talk, with the address 27th February 2010. So let's have a look at this first email. And you can see here that this email is from Leeds talk, is the title of the email address. We can right click on this and look at properties. And there you can see that that says almithaq@hotmail.com. So let's go back, and we can see this is simply a message just speaking about the talk, mentions the date here, and just the general subjects that should be covered in the talk. And this is again the rest of the message. A mention here of Abu Hakim is going to do a talk as well. So this is on the 20th of January, basically 5 weeks before the talk itself. Then we have another email on the 3rd of February, and you can see there's more details now. Abu Hakim and myself mentions the venue, and there's the email address of Al-Mithaq, and we see the date clearly here, 27th February 2010. Now the next email is received on the 18th of February, which is 9 days before the talk. And in this one, we have a flyer. This is quite a large JPEG. It's about 8 megabytes. And again, you can see all of the details. There's a question and answer session between 4 to 8 p.m. Saturday 27th February 2010. What we can do is to save this, because this is a very large JPEG, so you can't really see it all in the actual email itself. So we'll just right click on this, save picture as, and we'll save it to a folder. And then we'll bring this image into the browser. We'll just drag this image here and drag it into the browser. So this is the flyer, as you can see. Let's just take a look. Talks at the Bangladeshi Centre, Roundhay Road, Leeds, LS85AN. And this is on the 27th of February 2010. You can see the title, The Ongoing Evils of the Devil and His Army of Helpers, with questions and answers. And here you can see the, if we just zoom into that, you can see, if we just bring that down a little, Abu Hakim Bilal Davis, our names, going all the way back up to the top, and there you can clearly see the venue and also the date, 27th February 2010. So this was received on, if we close this email, so again this is from Leeds Talk. We can right click on this, properties, almithaq@hotmail.com. So let's close that one, and then we have another email. Basically this is on the, sorry, that's the same one, 18th of February. There should be another one, 24th, yeah, 24th. So this is basically a final email 3 days before the actual talk itself. This is on the 24th of February, and it says here that your talk is at 4 p.m. to 5:30, which is exactly when it took place, and a break between 5:30 to 6:20 for Maghrib, the Maghrib prayer, which was actually announced in the talk itself. And then Abu Hakim to start at 6:30, which is what I actually said in the talk. When I finished my talk, I said Abu Hakim will be speaking at 6:30 p.m. following a break for Maghrib, and then a Q&A at between 8 to 9 p.m. This is clear evidence that what we said was absolutely correct, that the talk was on the 27th of February 2010. We have another email here. This is another talk that I did along with Abu Hakim, this time in September. This was on the topic of Dajjal. You can see here from Abu Ubaidullah, and I think there's a flyer to this talk as well. Let's see if we can save this as well, save picture as, and we can also view this in the browser. So if we just go back, yeah, this machine is not connected to the internet, so that's why we're seeing the error message there. So we now bring in the other talk. Yeah, so here we have the talk, same venue, 18th September 2010, myself and Abu Hakim, basically the same format really, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So what we can conclude from all of this is that these people who, first of all, they lied against me by saying that I believe and I hold as an opinion that Sulaiman alayhi salam was a magician. This is slander, a big slander. It was very clear that I was actually exonerating and freeing Sulaiman alayhi salam from the slander of the Jews. That was the saying of the Jews. That's what the Jews believed, one faction of the Jews. And so I was in the process of explaining from the point of view of the Jews their justification for engaging in magic, because they believed Sulaiman was a magician, he taught magic, and that they learnt magic from him. So that was very, very apparent when you listen to that section. So they first of all slandered me on that. Then when I clarified that, they then brought out a second fabrication, which is that I lied about the date of the talk. They said it was in 2005, which it clearly wasn't. And it's impossible for it to be in 2005 for numerous reasons. Number one, Al-Mithaq was never set up until 2008. Number two, on that very same day that is claimed that the talk took place, which was, I believe, the 9th or the 10th, I think it's the 10th of September 2005. On that day there was a conference in Birmingham with mashayikh from overseas. It's impossible for this lecture with me and Abu Hakim to be on, on the same day. It's impossible. So that lie was also exposed. That was also exposed. And then the third lie they invented was that I repented from my alleged statement that Sulaiman alayhi salam was a magician, right? So they fabricated a third lie. Rather, what I did was to clarify the ambiguity in my statement, not from the slander that they accused me of, but from the ambiguity in my statement. And so this was the third lie they used to cover up, the first two lies. And now they are still trying to play games because they know they've been exposed and they know that they have all colluded upon a lie. And this is really the nail in the coffin of all of these people. All of these people, Hijab, this team, Dajajila, all 4 or 5 of these clowns who basically continue to make clowns of themselves. So this is conclusive evidence, that the talk was on the 27th of February 2010. And as for the images they are showing of the file, which is supposed to be in 2005, that's clearly been doctored. And also another thing, all of them are guilty. Every single one of them are guilty, because the similitude is a bit like this. If you have a team of 5 people and one of them basically he makes some tool or some machinery by which the other 4 then go and say rob a bank, or they do some criminal act, right, and they use this tool. Now if they were to be caught and they try to use the excuse or the argument, it's got nothing to do with us, because we never made this tool, we never made this hammer, we never made this this saw or whatever it was they used to cut into the venue and to steal. This argument is ridiculous. You all colluded together on this whole thing, right? You tried to use this issue. You used the weapon, right, which is this claim about the date of the lecture, right? You got exposed, and now you're trying to free yourself in the same way that a team of robbers would try to free themselves by using this pathetic argument. Sorry we smashed into your house and tried to burgle your house, but we never made this battering ram. It was made by somebody else. It's got nothing to do with us, right? This shows the complete and utter stupidity of Team Dajajila. And so all of them have been exposed for the liars, for the kadhabun that they are. And this is the clearest of evidence. Now there is one more point which I forgot to add. If we bring the flyer back onto the screen, we can see here that the talk itself, sorry, it's not the flyer, we need the actual email. So let's go back to the email with the details. I think it's this one. Yeah, here we are. So you can see here that my talk is at 4 to 5:30 p.m. The break here for Maghrib, which I clearly announce in the talk, and I clearly mention in the talk as well, that Abu Hakim will begin at 6:30. So how is it possible to be praying Maghrib between 5:30 p.m. and 6:20 p.m.? I believe it was around 5 to 6 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 10 to 6 if I'm not mistaken, or thereabouts. How can I be praying Maghrib in this time period in September for Leeds? Go and check the time for Maghrib in Leeds in September, and you'll find basically it's around 7, 7:10, 7:15, something along those lines. I haven't really checked. But how can I be praying Maghrib? How can we be praying Maghrib between 5:30 and 6:20 p.m.? You tell me. Right, so, and this is in the talk itself, the very talk itself. So all of these are clear evidences that we are dealing with a bunch of crooked liars who've been exposed for the first lie, then they fabricate a second lie to cover up the first one, or to, make people forget the first one. Then when they're exposed for that second lie, they then concoct a third one so that they can play with people's minds and make them forget the first two. And after they've been thoroughly exposed for all three lies, now they are continuing like a bunch of idiots and fools who don't realize that people are now laughing at them, at their stupidity, and the fact that people can see straight through them. And now they want to continue the illusion and continue the lie. And I think what they are doing, to be honest with you, is that they have different audiences. So for example, they'll have an audience on Facebook, they'll have an audience on certain YouTube accounts, and what they do is they use different accounts for different purposes. So they're not bothered really about being exposed, because not all of the audience is going to really see that, because they don't put these videos on their main large accounts, right, where they have the large audience. They keep that as the clean account. And then this type of stuff, they put it on these other obscure accounts so that their following can't see what's really going on. So they're not really bothered about getting caught out lying and fabricating and slandering, and they don't care that people are actually seeing this, because they know that maybe a large part of the audience isn't really going to see all of that. So I think this is what they are doing. They know they are lying, they've been caught lying, and they know that we know that they are lying, but this is all to do with the audience, keeping the audience for whatever reasons it might be. And that's what's really motivating them. This has got nothing to do with da'wah and calling people to the truth. It's all about maintaining that image, maintaining that large audience, and fearing that people will see through them. This is what this is all about. And alhamdulillah, this particular episode has really, truly and thoroughly exposed all of these individuals, every last one of them. M.Hijab, the pseudo-philosopher, Haji, this Haqid, this enmitous individual who hates Salafis, the people of the Sunnah. All of them have been thoroughly exposed, walhamdulillah, and you can't get any evidence clearer than the one that you're looking at right now.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Just one more thing I forgot to mention in the previous video, which is that we can go to salafitalk.net and we can do a search for Mithaq. We already have it here. And this brings us a series of posts from the website. You can see here that there are numerous conferences, mini conferences advertised for different days, ranging from we have March 2009, May 2009, we have 18th September 2010. But the one that interests us here is, if we continue to the next page, here we are. We have Leeds conference 27th February, and this is 2010. If we click on this, we can see the post here which comes first on the 6th of February announcing the talk. This is with Abu Hakim and myself. And if we scroll down, we can see this image. And this is one of the flyers that were prepared. And if we click on this image, now this is a low resolution image. We have to zoom in. And if you look at the bottom right here, it says from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, 27th February 2010. Now this is the same flyer that you can see. It uses the same icons, and I believe this is the flyer, or the design of this flyer was used on the CDs, the CD production. So this is yet another piece of clear evidence that the lecture was on 27th of February 2010. And as for the claim that, you know, the counter argument, well, it's not even really an argument, because they've been exposed from every single angle possible. The only thing they've got left to say is basically, well, how do we know that you didn't do a talk on magic before 2010? This is really poor argumentation. Basically, you made the claim that the talk was on the 10th of September 2005. That claim has been annihilated. You brought fabricated evidence, even the digital evidence with the file, with the dates, all of that is known to be fabricated. It has been exposed, so someone's clearly been doctoring the files and the dates. So you have nothing left. There's nothing left. So it's not for me to prove that I didn't do a talk on the 10th of September 2005. It's for you to bring the evidence. And this evidence, what you are seeing right now, this is the actual flyer. This flyer, I believe, was also used on the CDs, to produce the CDs. And right at the bottom here, you can see Saturday, 27th February 2010. So this is clear evidence that these people are a bunch of crooked liars. They've all colluded together in order to, you know, make this assault. And all of them have, you know, they have different grievances, they have different motivations, different desires, and they're just using each other for their own ends. This is not something by which the face of Allah is sought. This is something by which audiences are being pleased, audiences are being kept, audiences are being maintained, and it's just a way to basically vent their frustration towards Salafis, towards people of the Sunnah, and nothing else. So alhamdulillah, the evidence has been clearly established, and there is nothing more to say. Everybody is looking at these clowns, these fools, you know, for their persistence upon lying after being exposed so many times. And the more they continue, the more it becomes clear to people, and inshallah the more the people who have been deceived by them will abandon them in droves and droves, inshallah.